I will pay you $2 million if you read this document. Anna startled. Her shoulders jerked, and for a brief second her eyes widened, not with greed or excitement, but with confusion. She had never heard a grown man speak to a child that way, so loud, so certain, as if money itself were a language everyone should understand. She felt her grandmother's fingers tighten around hers. Anna took a breath, then another. The room was full of adults, but she had learned long ago that adults often spoke before they thought, and that silence, if held long enough, made people uncomfortable. She stepped forward. "My name is Anna," she said. Her voice was small, but it was steady. "I'm 6 years old." A few people exchanged looks. Someone smiled politely, the way adults smiled when indulging a child who didn't yet know her place. The billionaire raised an eyebrow. He hadn't expected that. He had expected fear, or tears, or silence. "You're very brave, Anna," he said lightly. "Now, about the document." Anna looked down at the thick stack of papers resting on the desk. She did not ask again about the money. She did not ask again about the competition. He had nodded. That was enough. "If I read this," Anna said, carefully, "I get the $2 million, and I'm allowed to enter the English competition." The billionaire nodded once, amused. "Yes, that's the deal." Anna nodded back, the way her grandmother had taught her. Agreements mattered, even when adults forgot that. She reached out and picked up the document. It was heavier than she expected. The pages were filled with unfamiliar shapes to most people in the room, but to Anna, they felt like old acquaintances. Languages were not separate things in her mind. They were bridges. Once you learned how one bridge worked, the others revealed themselves. She did not hesitate. She did not ask for time. She did not ask for help. Anna looked up briefly, as if to make sure she had permission to exist in that moment, then looked back down and began to read. The first page was Latin. "In principio erat verbum," Anna read clearly. In the beginning was the word. Her pronunciation was precise, unforced, not memorized, understood. A murmur rippled through the room. She turned the page. The second language was ancient Greek. "Niu aroshi niu a lambda gamma omicrons." Anna continued, her voice calm, translating seamlessly as she went. The logos, the meaning, the thought that gives form to speech. Someone inhaled sharply. A man near the back whispered, "That's correct." Anna did not look up. The third section shifted scripts entirely. Hebrew. "Be'arashit be'ara elaim," she read, the consonants crisp, confident. "In the beginning, God created. Tuai." Her finger traced the line as she moved. Not because she needed to, but because she respected the text. Words deserved that much. The billionaire's smile began to fade. She turned the page again. The fourth language was Sanskrit. "Atato brahma jigyasa," Anna said softly. "Now begins the inquiry into meaning itself." A chair scraped quietly against the floor as someone stood to get a better look. This was no longer amusing. This was unsettling. Anna adjusted her grip on the papers. Her hands were small, but sure. The fifth language came from a different world entirely. Classical Arabic. "Ikra basm rabbaka alladhi khalaq," she read. "Read, in the name of your Lord who created." The irony of the word read did not escape her, though she did not comment on it. The room had gone completely silent. No laughter, no whispers, only breathing. She turned the page. The sixth language was Old French, formal and precise. "Les mots sont faits pour dire vérité," Anna read. "Words are made to speak truth." Her grandmother's eyes filled with tears, though Anna did not see them. Then came the seventh. The script was rare, ancient, the kind of language most people only saw in footnotes or museums. Anna paused not because she couldn't read it, but because it mattered. She took a breath, then she began. She read slowly this time, carefully, explaining as she went, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "The greatest inheritance," Anna translated, "is not gold or land, but the knowledge passed from one voice to another, so it is not lost to silence." When she finished, she closed the document. The sound was soft, final. If this moment moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments where you are watching, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that give a voice to truth, courage, and quiet justice. For a moment, no one moved. The billionaire stared at her, his mouth slightly open, the confident mask gone. This was not what he had planned. This was not a joke that had gone too far. This was something else entirely. "How?" he began, then stopped. Anna looked up at him. I read, she said simply. You asked me to. The billionaire said nothing. Around him, adults who had spent their lives in boardrooms and universities looked at a 6-year-old black girl with something they had not expected to feel. Recognition. Anna handed the document back and stepped away from the desk. She did not smile. She did not wait for applause. She walked back to her grandmother's side and slipped her small hand into Evelyn's. The billionaire swallowed hard. For the first time that day, he did not know what to say. And for the first time in a very long time, he realized the room no longer belonged to him. No one clapped. That was the first thing Anna noticed. After the last word left her mouth and the document was closed, there was no applause, no laughter, no dramatic reaction at all. Instead, a heavy, uncomfortable quiet settled over the room. It was the kind of silence that made adults shift their feet and avoid each other's eyes. Anna stood beside her grandmother, her small chest rising and falling faster than she wanted it to. Reading had always come easily to her, but standing in front of grown men and women who had already decided she did not belong was something else entirely. She leaned slightly toward Evelyn, drawing strength from the familiar warmth of her grandmother's hand. Across the desk, the billionaire did not move. He sat frozen in his chair, one hand resting on the edge of the table, the other curled loosely in his lap. His mouth was still open just enough to look foolish, though no one would dare say it. The confident smile he had worn minutes earlier was gone. In its place was a blankness that unsettled the room far more than anger would have. People began to look at him, not openly, not boldly, but with the kind of sideways glances reserved for moments when power falters. A sponsor near the back folded her arms. A staff member lowered his clipboard. A man who had laughed earlier now stared at the floor as if hoping it might open and swallow him. The billionaire blinked once, then again. This is, he began, then stopped. No one rushed to help him finish the sentence. Anna waited. She had learned patience in hospital waiting rooms, in welfare offices, in libraries where she had to sit quietly until adults noticed her raised hand. Silence did not frighten her. It frightened people who were used to controlling it. Finally, the billionaire cleared his throat and leaned back in his chair. He crossed his legs slowly, deliberately, as if the room still belonged to him and always would. Well, he said, forcing a thin smile. That was unexpected. No one laughed this time. One of the older men near the desk spoke, his voice careful. She didn't just read. She explained structure, context. The billionaire waved a hand dismissively, but the motion lacked its usual confidence. Children absorb things, he said, especially when coached. Several heads turned toward him, then toward Anna, then quickly away again. The word coached hung in the air, ugly and unspoken in its implication. Evelyn felt her jaw tighten. She took a step forward before Anna could speak. My granddaughter taught herself, she said quietly. I clean offices. I don't teach Latin. The billionaire looked at her then. Really looked at her, as if noticing for the first time that she existed. Something flickered across his face, discomfort, perhaps, or irritation, but he said nothing. Anna stepped forward instead. I told you my name, she said. You didn't ask me how I learned. You just wanted me to fail. A few people inhaled sharply. The billionaire's eyes narrowed. Careful, he said. Confidence can sound like disrespect. Anna tilted her head slightly, considering that. Respect, she said, is when you keep your word. The room seemed to hold its breath. He stared at her, measuring, recalculating. For the first time since he had spoken, he appeared unsure which version of himself to present, the generous benefactor or the man who could not be challenged by a 6-year-old child. You're very articulate, he said at last. Anna nodded. I read a lot. That earned a quiet, humorless exhale from someone near the back. The billionaire glanced around again. He could feel the shift now. This was no longer a private moment of amusement. This was becoming something else, something that might follow him out of the room. You asked for $2 million, he said, as if reminding her, and himself, of the absurdity. Do you even understand what that means? Anna looked up at him. It means my grandmother wouldn't have to worry about medicine, she said. And I could still go to the library. No one laughed. The billionaire's lips pressed into a thin line. He looked away, down at the desk, then back up again. And the competition, he said. You want to enter? Yes, sir. There was a pause. A long one. Behind him, a woman on the sponsor board leaned toward another and whispered something. Whatever it was, the second woman nodded slowly, her expression grave. A young assistant shifted uncomfortably, glancing between the child and the man who signed his paycheck. The billionaire felt the weight of their eyes. He remained seated, unmoving, as if standing might crack whatever control he had left. "I didn't expect this," he said quietly. Anna did not respond. She had not expected him to. He sighed, a sound of frustration rather than fatigue. "Very well," he said. "You'll be allowed to enter the competition. Preliminary round only." A murmur spread through the room. "And the money?" Evelyn asked, her voice steady but firm. The billionaire hesitated, just a fraction of a second too long. "Yes," he said. "The money will be transferred. My office will contact you." Anna nodded once, agreement acknowledged. For a moment, no one moved. It was as if the room itself needed time to catch up with what had just happened. Anna's legs began to tremble now that the tension was easing. She leaned into her grandmother, suddenly every bit the 6-year-old she was. Evelyn wrapped an arm around her shoulders and turned toward the exit. As they began to walk, people stepped aside instinctively, creating a narrow path through the crowd. Some looked at Anna with awe, others with something closer to regret. The billionaire remained seated, staring straight ahead, his hands resting flat on the desk. No one approached him. No one congratulated him. No one laughed with him. As the doors closed behind Anna and her grandmother, the sound echoed louder than it should have. Several people glanced back at the billionaire, then quickly away again. He sat alone in the middle of the room, surrounded by witnesses who were suddenly very aware of what they had seen. For the first time in a long career built on certainty and control, he did not know how the story would end, and that realization settled over him like a weight he could not shrug off. Outside, the air felt colder than it had inside, not because of the weather but because the building's quiet had followed them out like a shadow. Anna's breathing came in small, careful pulls. The adrenaline that had kept her upright in that room was fading now, leaving her legs weak and her hands slightly shaky. Evelyn guided her down the wide steps and toward the curb. She didn't rush. She had learned long ago that when a storm passes, you don't sprint into the open. You walk. You keep your dignity. You let people see you steady. A city bus hissed to a stop nearby, doors folding open with a familiar wheeze. The driver glanced their way, then looked forward again, as drivers did when they'd seen enough life to know not everything was their business. Evelyn tightened the scarf around Anna's neck. "Easy, baby," she murmured. Slow breaths. "Oat." Anna nodded, but her eyes were distant, still seeing the room, still hearing the billionaire's voice, still tasting the silence that came after she read the 7th language. She had expected something: anger, maybe, or laughter again, or someone shouting that she cheated. She hadn't expected the way everyone looked away from him afterward, like they were afraid of catching something. "Grandma," Anna said softly. "Yes, sugar. Did I do something bad?" Evelyn stopped walking. That question cut deeper than any insult in that building, because it was the question children asked when the world punished them for being honest. Evelyn crouched down slowly, her knees stiff, so her eyes were level with Anna's. "No," Evelyn said, steady. "You did something brave." Anna blinked. "He looked like he swallowed a rock." Evelyn's mouth twitched, almost a smile, but her eyes stayed serious. "That's what happens when a man thinks he owns the air in a room and then finds out he doesn't." Anna's shoulders loosened a fraction. "He said $2 million. I heard him, and he said I can enter the English competition. I heard that too." Anna looked down at her shoes. Grown-ups don't always keep promises. Evelyn's throat tightened. She stood up and took Anna's hand again. "That's true," she said, "and that's why we're going to be smart about this." Well, they walked to the bus stop bench. Evelyn sat and pulled Anna close against her side, the way she did when Anna's breathing got too tight at night. Anna leaned into her grandmother's coat, smelling laundry soap and peppermint comfort. Across the street, the glass building stood tall and shining, pretending it had not just witnessed something it didn't know how to name. Evelyn watched the entrance for a moment, her mind working. She had lived long enough to recognize danger that smiled. The billionaire had nodded and promised, yes. But Evelyn knew men like him. They didn't like being corrected. They didn't like being forced to keep their word in front of witnesses. "What happens now?" Anna asked. Evelyn looked at her. Anna's face was pale under her brown skin, the way it got after she'd pushed too hard. Her eyes, though, were clear, focused. Too old for 6. We go home, Evelyn said. You rest. You drink something warm. And tomorrow we make phone calls. Anna frowned. To who? To people who are paid to make grown men keep their promises, Evelyn said. And to the library. Because you still owe Mrs. Alvarez that book. Anna's lips parted, a small surprised laugh almost escaping. It was the first time she'd sounded like a child since they entered the building. The bus arrived again, the same number they always took. Evelyn helped Anna climb the steps and guided her to a seat near the front. Elderly riders sat scattered through the bus, coats zipped, hands folded over bags. A man with a veteran's cap looked up as they passed, then nodded at Evelyn in quiet recognition. Evelyn nodded back. In neighborhoods like theirs, the older folks didn't talk much, but they noticed everything. Anna sat by the window, her forehead resting lightly against the glass. The city slid by in muted colors, corner stores, churches, a diner with a neon sign that flickered even in daylight. Evelyn watched the passing streets with the weary vigilance of someone who knew how quickly life could change. Anna's voice was small again. Grandma? Yes. Why did he laugh at me? Evelyn took a slow breath. She could have lied. She could have softened it. But Evelyn had raised this child on truth. Because lies were a luxury they couldn't afford. Because, Evelyn said gently, he looked at you, and he saw what he wanted to see. A little black girl. Thin. Sickly. No parents. Not important. Anna swallowed. But I am important. Evelyn squeezed her hand. Yes, you are. The bus bumped over a pothole. Anna sat up straighter. Do you think he'll try to take it back? Anna asked. Evelyn stared ahead for a moment. He might, she admitted. Men like that don't like being made small. Anna's eyes narrowed slightly, an expression that would have looked strange on most children, but on Anna it looked natural, like a mind already in motion. Then why did he say it? Anna asked. Why offer money if he didn't want to pay? Evelyn's voice turned quieter. Because to him it was never about giving. It was about proving you couldn't. Anna thought about that in silence. There it was, the hidden danger Evelyn had always warned her about. Not the loud danger that shouted. The quiet danger that smiled and called itself fair while stacking the deck. The bus turned onto their street. Their building wasn't much, 2 stories, peeling paint, a tired front porch. But it was home. Evelyn led Anna inside, up the narrow stairs, past a neighbor's door where gospel music drifted out low and steady. In their apartment, the air smelled like yesterday's soup and the lemon cleaner Evelyn used because it made her feel like she still had some control over the world. Evelyn set her purse down and guided Anna to the couch. Shoes off, she said automatically. Anna obeyed. Then, without being told, she reached for the old blanket folded on the armrest. It had once belonged to Anna's mother. Evelyn had kept it even when she'd wanted to throw away everything that hurt. Some things were too sacred to discard. Evelyn moved into the small kitchen and put a kettle on. The familiar routine steadied her hands. Tea, honey, a slice of toast if there was bread left. Ordinary things, the kind that told your body you were safe. Anna watched her grandmother with a seriousness that didn't match her age. Grandma, she said. If he doesn't pay, if he says, I can't compete, Evelyn turned, leaning against the counter. Then we fight smart, she said. Anna's brow furrowed. How? Evelyn hesitated, then answered with the kind of truth older people carried like a tool. We find witnesses, she said. We find paperwork. We find someone who knows the rules better than he does. His way. Anna nodded slowly, as if filing the words away with the same care she used for new vocabulary. Evelyn poured hot water into 2 chipped mugs. She carried one to Anna and sat beside her on the couch. Anna held the mug with both hands, letting the warmth seep into her fingers. I don't like him, Anna said quietly. Evelyn looked at her, tired eyes softening. You don't have to like him, she replied. You just have to remember what you did today. I will. Anna stared into the tea as if the surface might show her the future. What did I do? She asked. Evelyn's voice was low, almost reverent. You walked into a room that wanted you invisible, she said. And you made them see you. Anna's throat bobbed as she swallowed. The effort of staying composed finally caught up with her. She leaned her head against Evelyn's shoulder. Evelyn wrapped an arm around her, holding her close. Outside, the city kept moving. Inside, the 2 of them sat in quiet, with a promise hanging over their heads like a fragile piece of glass. Somewhere downtown, a powerful man was already thinking about how to undo what he had done. But here, in this small apartment, a 6-year-old girl closed her eyes and rested, and her grandmother listened to the kettle's fading hiss and made a decision of her own. If he tried to take it back, he wouldn't just be taking money. He would be taking a child's dignity. And Evelyn Moore had buried too many dreams in her lifetime to let a billionaire bury this one. The phone rang just after sunrise. Evelyn was already awake. She had slept lightly, sitting half upright in the armchair beside the couch where Anna lay curled under the old blanket. Every sound in the apartment had reached her ears, the radiator clicking, a car door slamming outside. Anna's uneven breathing when a dream tightened her chest. Evelyn had spent the night staring at the wall, thinking about promises and men who treated words like toys. When the phone rang, she reached for it before the second ring finished. "Hello? Mrs. Moore?" The voice on the other end was crisp, professional, too early, too controlled. "This is Daniel Reeves from the Whitman Foundation. I'm calling regarding yesterday's incident." Evelyn closed her eyes for a brief second. Incident. That was what people called moments they wished they could file away and forget. "Yes," she said. "I'm listening." Reasoned. "There seems to have been some confusion." Reeves continued smoothly. "Mr. Whitman feels that what occurred yesterday was an informal demonstration, not a binding agreement." Evelyn looked over at Anna, still asleep. Her small face relaxed for the first time since they'd returned home. Evelyn lowered her voice. "There was no confusion," she said. "Your employer offered $2 million and entry into the competition. In front of witnesses." A pause. Papers rustled. "Mr. B. Whitman is concerned about setting a precedent," Reeves said, "allowing a 6-year-old child." "Allowing a child who did exactly what she was asked," Evelyn interrupted. Her voice remained calm, but something solid had settled beneath it. "You don't get to test a child like a novelty and then decide the rules changed." Another pause, longer this time. "We'd like to invite Anna back," Reeves said carefully. "For a private evaluation." Evelyn's grip tightened on the phone. "No," she said. "No?" Reeves repeated, clearly unused to the word. "No," Evelyn said again. "If you want to evaluate her, you do it publicly. The same way you challenged her." "That may not be possible," Reeves replied. "Then neither is your convenience," Evelyn said. "Good morning." She hung up before he could respond. Her heart pounded as she set the phone down. Saying no had always come at a cost in her life. Lost hours, lost jobs, closed doors. But she had learned something over the years too. Some doors were worth slamming shut. Anna stirred on the couch, blinking awake. "Grandma?" she murmured. Evelyn moved quickly to her side, smoothing back a braid that had come loose. "Morning, baby." "Who was that?" Evelyn hesitated. Then she told the truth. Someone trying to make yesterday smaller than it was. Anna pushed herself up on one elbow. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," Evelyn said firmly. "You did something right, and that scares people." Anna considered this in silence. "Are they going to take it away?" Evelyn met her eyes. "They might try." Anna nodded slowly. "Okay." "God attack," that was all. No panic, no tears. Just acceptance followed by readiness. Evelyn felt a familiar mix of pride and sorrow twist in her chest. No child should have to be ready like this. They ate breakfast quietly, toast and eggs, shared between them. Afterward, Evelyn bundled Anna up and walked her the few blocks to school. The teacher smiled politely when Evelyn explained that Anna might be distracted today. Evelyn didn't explain further. Some things couldn't be said in hallways. On her way home, Evelyn stopped at the public library. Mrs. Alvarez looked up from behind the desk and smiled. "Back already?" Evelyn nodded. "I need to ask you something." 20 minutes later, Evelyn left with a list of names scribbled on a scrap of paper. A retired journalist, a local education lawyer, a community organizer who knew how to make noise without shouting. By noon, the phone rang again. This time, Evelyn let it ring twice before answering. "Yes?" "Mrs. Moore," Reeves said again, his voice tighter now. "We need to discuss the implications of yesterday. There are legal considerations, media risks." Evelyn smiled without humor. "Funny," she said. "Those didn't concern you when you laughed at a child." Silence. "There is footage," Reeves admitted. Several angles. I know, Evelyn said. People record things when they think they're watching history. Another pause. Then, softer. Mr. Whitman would like to speak with you directly. No, Evelyn said. Reeves exhaled. Mrs. Moore, my granddaughter is not a lesson, Evelyn said, and she's not a problem for you to manage. She's a person. She hung up again. By late afternoon, the story had started to move. Evelyn didn't see it herself. She was busy folding laundry, helping Anna with homework, insisting she rest when her breathing grew tight. But the neighbor downstairs knocked, phone in hand, eyes wide. They're talking about her, the woman whispered. On the internet. Evelyn took the phone. A short video played. Shaky, cropped. Anna's voice, calm and clear, reading in a language most people couldn't identify. Comments scrolled rapidly beneath it. Is this real? That child is incredible. Why was that man laughing? This doesn't sit right with me. Evelyn handed the phone back, her hands steady. That evening, another call came. This one was different. Mrs. Moore, a woman said. My name is Carol Jennings. I used to work for the competition committee. I saw the video. Evelyn listened. I don't like bullies, Jennings continued. And I don't like watching powerful men corner children. I want to help. Evelyn closed her eyes, feeling something shift. Not relief, not victory. Momentum. After the call ended, Evelyn sat beside Anna on the couch. People are paying attention now, she said. Anna nodded. Is that good? It can be, Evelyn said. It can also be loud. Anna thought for a moment. I don't mind loud, she said. I mind unfair. Evelyn laughed softly, then pulled Anna into a hug. You sound like someone much older than 6. Anna shrugged. Words don't care how old you are. Too wide, outside. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the street. Somewhere downtown, a man was watching numbers climb on a screen, realizing that silence was no longer an option. And in a small apartment, a grandmother and her granddaughter sat together, knowing that whatever came next, it would not be quiet. The first official letter arrived on thick paper, the kind meant to impress before it informed. Evelyn read it at the kitchen table while Anna colored quietly beside her, tongue caught between her teeth in concentration. The letterhead bore the emblem of the National English Excellence Competition, embossed and formal. The words themselves were polite, carefully balanced. Each sentence weighed by lawyers before it ever touched ink. They acknowledged Anna's remarkable demonstration. 2. They confirmed her conditional acceptance into the preliminary round. They noted that additional evaluations would be required to ensure fairness. Evelyn folded the letter once, then twice. Grandma? Anna asked without looking up. Is it bad? Evelyn studied her granddaughter's face. The soft curve of her cheek. The seriousness in her eyes that no 6-year-old should have needed to develop. She chose her words carefully. It's cautious, Evelyn said. That usually means someone is scared. Anna nodded as if that made sense. Scared people make rules. Yes, Evelyn said softly. They do. The second letter came by email an hour later. This one was shorter, colder. It outlined the schedule for the preliminary round and included a reminder that participation could be revoked at the discretion of the committee. Evelyn read it twice, then closed the laptop. They're leaving themselves an exit, she murmured. Anna looked up. Are we still going? Evelyn did not answer right away. She stood and walked to the window, watching a delivery truck idle across the street, its engine rattling. She thought of the man in the suit, sitting very still while the room looked at him differently. She thought of how power never vanished, it only changed tactics. Yes, Evelyn said at last. We're going. Anna's shoulders relaxed, just a little. That evening, the phone rang again. This time, Evelyn let it ring longer, finishing the dish she was washing before answering. Mrs. Moore, the voice said. Different voice. Deeper, more practiced. This is Thomas Whitman. Evelyn felt her spine straighten. She dried her hands slowly before responding. Yes, I want to speak to Anna, he said. No, Evelyn replied. A pause. The smallest crack in his composure. I'm not calling to argue, Whitman said. I'm calling to clarify. Clarify what? Evelyn asked. You were clear enough yesterday. He exhaled. What happened was not intended to escalate. That's usually how truth works, Evelyn said. Another pause. I didn't expect her, Whitman said. And I didn't expect what she could do. Evelyn's voice remained even. Neither did you expect to be watched. Silence stretched between them, taut as a wire. I'd like to meet, Whitman said finally. Privately. No, Evelyn said again. If you want to speak to Anna, you do it where everyone can hear you. That's unreasonable. So was laughing at a child, Evelyn replied. Whitman sighed, a sound edged with irritation. You're making this adversarial. Evelyn's gaze flicked to Anna, now listening openly, coloring forgotten. You made it that way when you turned a child into a test. She ended the call before he could respond. That night, Anna had trouble sleeping. She lay awake on the couch, the blanket pulled up to her chin, eyes open in the dark. Grandma? She whispered. Evelyn rose from her chair and sat beside her. I'm here. Why do they keep calling? Anna asked. Evelyn brushed her fingers gently through Anna's braids. Because they thought yesterday would end when you stopped reading. Anna frowned. But it didn't. No, Evelyn said. It began. Anna stared at the ceiling. I don't want to be famous. Evelyn smiled sadly. That's good. Famous is heavy. I just want to read, Anna said, and not be laughed at. Evelyn leaned down and kissed her forehead. That's a fair wish. The day of the preliminary round arrived too quickly. They dressed simply. Anna wore a clean sweater and her most comfortable shoes. Evelyn wore her best coat, not because it was expensive, but because it made her feel anchored. At the venue, the atmosphere was different. Quieter. Tighter. People recognized Anna now. Some smiled, some stared too long, a few whispered. Whitman was there, seated with the committee. He did not smile when he saw them. The test itself was shorter than Anna expected. English comprehension, vocabulary, interpretation. Nothing designed for a child her age, but nothing designed to trip her either. It felt cautious. Anna answered calmly, thoughtfully. When she didn't know something, she said so plainly. When it was over, the room felt lighter, uncertain, but changed. Outside, reporters waited behind a rope. Evelyn shielded Anna gently as they passed. Do you think they'll let me stay? Anna asked once they were clear. Evelyn squeezed her hand. I think they're running out of reasons not to. That afternoon, the official confirmation came. Anna was in. No qualifiers, no conditions. Evelyn sat down hard when she read it. A hand pressed to her chest. Anna watched her carefully. Grandma? Evelyn laughed. A short, shaky sound that turned into a breath she'd been holding for years. They can't take this part away, she said. Anna smiled, small and real. Good. But even as the relief settled, Evelyn knew better than to mistake acceptance for safety. Whitman had not called again. Men like him did not disappear. They waited, and as Anna practiced reading at the kitchen table that evening, her voice steady and sure, Evelyn understood something with aching clarity. The competition was no longer the real test. What came next would be. The days that followed Anna's acceptance moved more slowly than Evelyn expected, not because nothing was happening but because too much was. Letters arrived. Emails followed. Schedules were sent, revised, sent again. Each message was polite, careful, and written as if the people behind it were trying very hard not to sound afraid. The committee congratulated Anna on her exceptional performance. They emphasized how inspiring it was to see young talent recognized. They reminded Evelyn, more than once, that the competition valued integrity and fairness above all else. Evelyn read every word the way she used to read contracts when she cleaned law offices at night slowly, twice, and with suspicion. Anna, meanwhile, returned to her routines as if nothing extraordinary had happened. She went to school. She finished her homework. She read at the kitchen table in the evenings, her legs dangling from the chair, switching easily between English and other languages depending on what book lay open in front of her. Sometimes she read aloud, sometimes she didn't. She did not brag. She did not rehearse speeches. She did not ask about the money. That worried Evelyn more than anything else. On the fourth morning after the confirmation email, a black car waited across the street when Evelyn opened the front door. It was parked too neatly, too deliberately. Evelyn froze for half a second, then placed her hand on Anna's shoulder. Stay here, she said quietly. Anna nodded, eyes already alert. Evelyn stepped onto the porch. The car's back door opened, and Thomas Whitman stepped out. He was dressed more casually than before, no tie, coat unbuttoned, but nothing about him suggested ease. He looked tired, not the tiredness of hard work, but the strain of someone who had not slept well because the world had stopped behaving as expected. "Mrs. Moore," he said. "May we speak?" Evelyn did not move closer. "You already called." "Yes," Whitman said. "And you hung up. That usually ends conversations," Evelyn replied. Whitman glanced toward the open door, toward Anna, watching quietly from inside. "I won't take much time." Evelyn studied him. She thought of the way he had sat unmoving while a room turned against him. She thought of the silence that had followed Anna's reading. "5 minutes," she said. "Out here." Whitman nodded. "I won't insult you by pretending this isn't complicated," he began. "The attention your granddaughter has brought, it's grown faster than anyone anticipated. That tends to happen when adults underestimate children," Evelyn said. Whitman ignored the comment. "Sponsors are asking questions. Journalists are circling. People are framing this as something it isn't." Evelyn folded her arms. "And what is it supposed to be?" "A competition," Whitman said. "Not a spectacle." Evelyn's voice sharpened. "You turned it into one when you laughed at her." Whitman flinched. "Just slightly. I misjudged the situation. That's one way to put it." He exhaled slowly. "I'm here to propose a solution." Evelyn's stomach tightened. "I don't like that word." Whitman went on anyway. "Anna has already proven herself. Allowing her to proceed further risks." "Risks what?" Evelyn interrupted. "Her winning?" Whitman's jaw tightened. "Risks the competition losing credibility." Evelyn laughed once, short and humorless. "Credibility doesn't break when a child is smart. It breaks when adults lie." He shifted his weight. "There are other opportunities for Anna. Scholarships, private programs, quiet ones." "Quiet," Evelyn repeated. "You mean invisible?" "I am not." Whitman looked past her again, toward the door. "She doesn't need this pressure." Evelyn stepped forward then, closing the distance. "You don't get to decide what my granddaughter needs," she said. "You had your chance to treat her gently. You chose amusement instead." Whitman's voice dropped. "If she continues, this will follow her. Forever." Evelyn met his gaze without blinking. "So will the truth." A silence stretched between them. Finally, Whitman nodded, once. "Very well," he said. "Then understand this. From here on, everything she does will be examined." Evelyn held his stare. "Good," she said. "She's used to that." Whitman turned and walked back to his car without another word. Inside, Anna watched him leave. "Who was that?" she asked. Evelyn closed the door carefully. "Someone who doesn't like losing control." Anna nodded thoughtfully. "He still thinks this is his story." Evelyn felt a chill. "Why do you say that?" Anna shrugged. "He keeps trying to move me to the side." That night, Evelyn barely slept. She lay awake listening to Anna's breathing, thinking about eyes that watched, hands that signed papers, and smiles that hid calculations. She thought about how quickly admiration could turn into resentment when a child refused to stay small. The next morning, the news broke wider. A major outlet ran a short segment. The video from the registration hall played again. Sharper now. Edited. Slowed down. Anna's voice echoed through living rooms across the city, across the country. A 6-year-old. 7 languages. A billionaire left speechless. The comments multiplied. Praise mixed with suspicion. Inspiration tangled with doubt. At school, Anna's teacher pulled Evelyn aside. "Some parents have concerns," she said gently. "They think this might be disruptive." Evelyn smiled tightly. "So is injustice." That afternoon, Anna came home quieter than usual. "Someone asked me if I was lying," she said, sitting at the table. Evelyn's hands stilled. "What did you say?" Anna thought for a moment. "I said words don't lie. People do." Evelyn closed her eyes briefly. By evening, another email arrived. The competition schedule had been updated again. Anna's next round would be public. On stage. With cameras. Evelyn read the message 3 times. This wasn't caution anymore. It was a test. She looked at Anna, reading peacefully on the couch, unaware of how large the world was growing around her. "Grandma?" Anna asked, sensing her gaze. "Am I in trouble?" Evelyn crossed the room and knelt beside her. She took Anna's face gently in her hands. "No," she said. "You're standing in it." Anna considered this, then nodded. "Okay." Evelyn pulled her into a hug, holding on longer than usual, because she understood now what Whitman had not. This was no longer about a competition. It was about whether a small black child was allowed to be extraordinary without asking permission. The auditorium smelled like dust and fresh paint, the way public buildings always did when they wanted to appear important. Anna sat in the third row, feet not quite touching the floor, hands folded neatly in her lap. The stage lights were still dim, but cameras were already positioned, their red standby lights blinking patiently. People moved with purpose, technicians, organizers, volunteers, all pretending this was just another event. It wasn't. Evelyn sat beside Anna, her back straight, her coat buttoned despite the warmth of the room. She had learned long ago that posture was a kind of armor. Around them, adults whispered, some casting quick glances toward Anna, others pretending not to look at all. She's so small, 6 years old. Can you believe it? I heard the billionaire himself will be here. Anna heard none of it. Or rather, she heard it the way she heard background noise on a train present, but not worth following. Her attention was on the stage, on the lectern where a single microphone waited. Grandma, she whispered. Yes, baby. Why do they need cameras? Evelyn did not answer immediately. She watched a man adjust a light, watched another check his watch for the third time in a minute. She thought of Whitman's voice, calm and measured, warning her that everything Anna did would be examined. Because, Evelyn said quietly, some people only believe things if other people are watching. Anna nodded as if that confirmed something she had already suspected. On stage, a woman in a navy blazer stepped up to the microphone. Her smile was wide, practiced, the kind meant for donors and viewers at home. Good afternoon, she said. Welcome to the preliminary public round of the National English Excellence Competition. Applause followed, polite and controlled. This round, the woman continued, is designed to assess comprehension, interpretation, and expressive clarity under observation. Anna tilted her head slightly. Under observation. She understood those words very well. Names were called. Teenagers. Young adults. Each contestant walked onto the stage, answered questions, read passages, explained meanings. Some stumbled. Some did well. Applause rose and fell like predictable waves. Then the woman glanced at her card and paused. Our final participant, she announced, her smile tightening just a little. Anna Moore. The room shifted. A ripple of murmurs passed through the audience as Anna stood. She felt Evelyn's hand press briefly against her back, a silent reminder that she was not alone. Anna walked toward the stage, each step careful but unhesitating. The stairs were taller than she expected, and a stagehand reached out instinctively to help her up. Anna accepted the hand without embarrassment. Assistance was not weakness, it was acknowledgement. She stood at the microphone, blinking once against the brightness of the lights. From the front row, Thomas Whitman watched her closely. He sat with his hands clasped, expression neutral, but his eyes followed every movement. He had not planned to attend this round in person. He had changed his mind that morning, when the producer informed him how many viewers were expected. The moderator cleared her throat. Anna, she said, softening her voice. Can you hear me? Yes, Anna replied. The simplicity of the answer seemed to unsettle the woman for a moment. We'll begin with a short passage, the moderator said. Please read and explain its meaning. A screen behind Anna lit up with a paragraph of text. Anna read silently for a few seconds. The words were easy. What mattered was what they were hiding. She leaned toward the microphone. This passage is about responsibility, Anna said. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind, the kind you don't get praised for. A few people shifted in their seats. It uses long sentences, she continued, to make the reader feel the weight of time passing. The author wants you to feel tired by the end, because that's how responsibility feels. The moderator blinked. And, do you think that was effective? Anna nodded. Yes, because I feel it. A murmur rippled through the audience. Whitman leaned back slightly. He had expected brilliance. What unsettled him was restraint. The moderator smiled again, more tightly this time. Thank you, Anna. Now, for the next part, we'll ask you to interpret a short piece of spoken English. An audio clip played. A man's voice, older, reflective, speaking about loss and memory. Anna listened, head tilted, eyes half closed. When it ended, the moderator asked, "What stood out to you?" Anna thought for a moment. Then she said, "He pauses before the word, home. That's where the pain is." Hold now. The room went quiet. Why? The moderator asked. Because people pause when they don't want to say something, Anna replied. Or when they're afraid it won't be there anymore. Someone in the audience exhaled shakily. Whitman's jaw tightened. This was not something you coached into a child. This was something learned by living. The moderator hesitated, then nodded. Thank you. She shuffled her cards. That concludes Anna's assessment. Applause began slowly, uncertainly, then grew. Anna stepped back from the microphone, the noise washing over her without quite reaching her. She scanned the audience instinctively until she found Evelyn. Their eyes met. Evelyn smiled, not wide, not triumphant, but proud in the way that felt private. Sacred. Anna walked back to her seat. As she sat down, she felt the weight of the room shift again. This time, it was not doubt. It was reckoning. Whitman stood. The movement drew attention immediately. The applause faded as heads turned. He did not approach the stage. He did not smile. He simply nodded once, slowly, in Anna's direction. The gesture was small, controlled. But in a room built on status, it landed like an admission. Anna noticed. She did not respond. She turned to Evelyn and whispered, "Did I do okay?" Evelyn squeezed her hand. "You did exactly what you were supposed to." "What was that?" Evelyn looked at her granddaughter. Really looked at her. "You told the truth." Without. As the event moved on, as cameras cut to commentary and analysts began using words like unprecedented and extraordinary, Anna leaned back in her chair, suddenly very tired. She had not raised her voice. She had not accused anyone. She had not demanded fairness. She had simply been seen. And somewhere deep inside the machinery of a competition built for older, louder, safer people, something had shifted again quietly, permanently. The studio lights were hotter than the auditorium lights had been. Anna felt it as soon as she stepped onto the stage, heat pressing down from above, bright enough that the faces beyond the first few rows dissolved into shadow. The audience murmured softly, a sound like distant rain. Somewhere behind the cameras, producers whispered into headsets, their voices urgent but controlled. Evelyn sat just off stage, close enough that Anna could see her if she turned her head. They had agreed on that. One anchor point, one familiar face. Anna adjusted the microphone once, gently. She had learned that sound mattered. Too close, and it swallowed you. Too far, and it made people lean forward, searching. Across the stage, the moderator smiled. All reassurance and polish. "Good evening," she said to the camera. "Tonight's round focuses on interpretation and response. Not just what words mean, but what they do." Anna listened carefully. Adults like to dress rules in pretty language. The moderator turned to her. "Anna, are you comfortable?" Anna nodded. "Yes." The moderator hesitated, then added, "If at any point you feel overwhelmed, I'll say so." Anna replied. A few people in the front row smiled nervously. From his seat near the aisle, Whitman watched her without expression. He had chosen a place that was visible but not central, close enough to be associated, far enough to step back if needed. It was a habit born of long practice. The moderator lifted a card. "We'll begin with a prompt," she said. "You'll hear a short statement, and we'd like you to respond." An audio clip played. A calm male voice spoke about success, about merit, effort, and the idea that opportunity was available to anyone willing to work for it. When the clip ended, the moderator turned to Anna. "What is your response?" Anna did not answer right away. She folded her hands loosely and thought. The audience waited. "Those words sound fair," Anna said at last, "but they don't talk about who gets tired first." A murmur moved through the room. "What do you mean?" the moderator asked. Anna lifted her eyes toward the lights. "Some people start closer to the door," she said. "Some people carry more things while they walk." The words don't say that. Whitman shifted in his seat. The moderator nodded slowly. "Do you think that makes the statement untrue?" Anna considered. "Not untrue," she said. "Incomplete." The moderator smiled. "Thank you." Way. She shuffled her cards. "Now, we'll move to a live reading." A screen lit up with a passage. Contemporary English. Dense, layered. Written by someone who assumed the reader had time and comfort. Anna read silently, then aloud, her voice clear and unhurried. When she finished, the moderator asked, "How would you describe the author's tone?" Anna tilted her head. "Confident," she said, "but not curious." "And is that a problem?" the moderator asked. Anna paused. It can be, she said. Confidence without curiosity stops listening. There was a ripple of applause before the moderator raised her hand, gently for quiet. Whitman felt his jaw tighten. This wasn't a trick of language. It was judgment. Calm, measured, impossible to dismiss without appearing afraid of it. The moderator glanced at her final card. Last question, she said. Why do you think language matters so much to people? Anna looked past the cameras, past the audience, as if she were speaking to someone not in the room. Because language decides who is believed, she said. And who has to prove themselves again and again. Silence settled, heavy and complete. The moderator lowered her cards. Thank you, Anna. Applause rose louder this time, sustained, complicated. Some people stood, others clapped slowly, thoughtfully, as if unsure what exactly they were applauding. Anna stepped back from the microphone. She did not bow. She did not smile for the camera. She walked off stage with the same care she had walked on. Evelyn met her immediately, wrapping her in a firm embrace. You did well, she whispered. Anna exhaled. I was scared. I know, Evelyn said. You still spoke. They stood together as the segment moved on, analysts beginning to dissect what had just happened. Words like poised and unsettling floated through the air. Someone said unprecedented. Someone else said controversial. Whitman remained seated. When the broadcast cut to commercial, he stood and approached the edge of the stage. He waited until the moderator noticed him, then leaned in to speak quietly. Cameras were off, but eyes were not. He glanced toward Anna and Evelyn, then back to the moderator. His face was carefully composed, but the strain was visible now. This can't continue like this, he said. The moderator's smile did not waver. The audience disagrees. Whitman's gaze flicked toward the crowd, toward the phones already raised, toward the faces that looked thoughtful rather than entertained. She's changing the frame, he said. The moderator tilted her head. Isn't that what excellence does? Whitman said nothing. After the show, the hallway buzzed with movement. Producers, assistants, journalists hovering at the edges like birds waiting for crumbs. A man with a press badge stepped forward. Anna, just one question. No, Evelyn said calmly, stepping between them. Anna looked up at Evelyn. It's okay, she said quietly. Evelyn hesitated. One, she said. That's all. The reporter knelt slightly, bringing himself closer to Anna's height. What do you want people to understand about tonight? Anna thought carefully. I want them to understand that being small doesn't mean being silent, she said. And being young doesn't mean being wrong. The reporter nodded, clearly affected. Thank you. They left the building under a sky that felt too big for the day it held. Evelyn's phone buzzed again and again, but she did not look at it. As they reached the car, Anna tugged gently at Evelyn's sleeve. Grandma? Yes, baby. Did I make him angry? Evelyn considered the question, then answered honestly. You made him visible. Anna nodded. That's worse for him. Evelyn smiled, tired and proud. Yes, she said. It is. Across the city, Whitman stood in his office, replaying the segment in his mind. He had built his life on the idea that words could be controlled, framed, redirected. Tonight, a 6-year-old had reminded him of something he had forgotten. Words also remembered who they belonged to. The backlash began quietly. It started with opinion pieces framed as concern, headlines that praised Anna's intelligence while questioning the appropriateness of placing a child in the spotlight. Well-meaning words that carried sharp edges if you listened closely. Evelyn read them all. She sat at the kitchen table early each morning, coffee cooling beside her, scanning articles on her old laptop while Anna slept. Phrases repeated themselves across outlets, as if shared by the same invisible hand. Too much pressure. Too young to understand the consequences. Adults projecting their agendas. Evelyn recognized the pattern. When people couldn't argue with what a child said, they argued with whether the child should be allowed to speak at all. Anna noticed the change before Evelyn wanted her to. At school, a parent asked loudly why Anna was getting special treatment. Another child asked if she was famous now. The teacher tried to smooth it over, but the room felt different, like a place that had lost its balance. That afternoon, Anna came home quieter than usual. They asked me to explain myself, she said, kicking off her shoes. Evelyn looked up sharply. Who did? Grown-ups, Anna replied. They said I made some people uncomfortable. Evelyn set the dish towel down. And what did you say? Anna shrugged. I said discomfort isn't the same as harm. Evelyn closed her eyes for a brief moment. Pride and worry twisted together again. Inseparable now. That evening, another letter arrived. This one was not polite. It came from the competition's ethics advisory panel. The language was dense, careful, but the message was clear. Concerns had been raised about external influence and narrative framing. They requested a meeting to discuss Anna's continued participation. They want to slow this down, Evelyn said, reading aloud. Anna sat cross-legged on the floor, sorting her books by size without being asked. Why? Because you're not following the script, Evelyn replied. Anna looked up. What script? The one where people like you are supposed to be grateful and quiet. Anna considered that. I am grateful, she said. I'm just not quiet. The meeting was scheduled for Friday morning. A neutral location, glass walls, long table, too many chairs. Evelyn arrived with Anna 10 minutes early. She had dressed carefully, not to impress but to remind herself who she was. Anna wore her favorite sweater, soft and familiar, a small shield against a large room. 5 people sat on the other side of the table. Lawyers, advisors, faces trained to look reasonable while deciding things that changed lives. Whitman was there too. He nodded once when they entered. No smile, no apology. Thank you for coming, said a woman at the center of the table. This is an informal conversation. Oh, Evelyn sat. Informal conversations don't usually require legal counsel. The woman's smile flickered. We want to ensure Anna's well-being. Anna leaned forward slightly. I'm here, she said. You can ask me. The room hesitated. We appreciate that, Anna, the woman said. But this discussion is primarily with your guardian. Anna nodded and leaned back, listening anyway. A man on the panel spoke next. There is concern that recent media attention has shifted the focus of the competition. From what? Evelyn asked. From language excellence, he replied. Evelyn's voice sharpened. That focus shifted the moment a child proved more capable than expected. Whitman cleared his throat. This is becoming ideological, he said. That was never the intention. Anna looked at him. What was the intention? Whitman paused. To celebrate merit. Anna nodded slowly. Then why is that a problem now? No one answered immediately. The woman at the center folded her hands. We're considering placing Anna on a different track, she said. A special recognition category, separate from the main competition. Evelyn's stomach dropped. You mean remove her? Not remove, the woman said quickly. Protect. Anna frowned. Protect from what? The man beside her spoke. From scrutiny. Anna tilted her head. You put the cameras there. Silence followed. Evelyn leaned forward. You want her brilliance without the discomfort it causes, she said. You want to praise her quietly and move on. That's unfair, Whitman said. No, Evelyn replied. It's familiar. The woman sighed. Mrs. Moore, this is bigger than all of us. Evelyn met her gaze. No, she said. It's exactly the size of my granddaughter. Anna spoke then, softly but clearly. If you move me, she said, will the rules change for everyone else? The panel exchanged looks. No, the woman admitted. Anna nodded. Then that's not fair. Whitman's jaw tightened. Life isn't always fair. Anna looked at him. Then competitions should be. The words landed harder than any accusation. The woman closed her folder. We'll take your position into consideration. Evelyn stood. We're done here. They walked out together, past the glass walls, past the people who had hoped to contain something that refused to be contained. Outside, Anna breathed deeply, as if the air itself had weight. Did I say something wrong? She asked. Evelyn shook her head. You said something inconvenient. Anna nodded. That happens a lot. That night, Evelyn received a call from the retired journalist whose name Mrs. Alvarez had given her. I've been watching this, the woman said. They're trying to rewrite the story. I know, Evelyn replied. Do you want help? The journalist asked. Evelyn looked at Anna, asleep on the couch, one arm flung protectively over her books. Yes, she said, but we don't exaggerate. We don't attack. We tell the truth. The journalist smiled through the phone. That's usually enough. By morning, a new article appeared. Not sensational, not angry, just precise. It laid out the timeline. The offer. The agreement. The performances. the sudden concern about fairness only after a 6-year-old black girl excelled publicly. People read it slowly. Comments shifted. Support deepened. Pressure mounted. Whitman read it alone in his office. The city stretched beneath his window. He realized then that this had crossed a line he could not manage with statements or committees. This was no longer about Anna. It was about what the institution revealed when tested. And the test was not over. The headlines came faster than Evelyn expected. By the time they reached home that evening, Anna's name was already moving across screens in living rooms, diners, and offices where people pretended not to watch the news during work hours. Clips from the auditorium played on a loop. Anna at the microphone. Anna listening. Anna speaking with that careful calm that unsettled adults who were used to louder confidence. Evelyn did not turn on the television. She learned what was happening from the phone vibrating on the kitchen counter, from messages stacking up faster than she could read them. Unknown number. Unknown number. Unknown number. She let them ring. Anna sat at the table with a glass of milk, shoulders slumped now that the lights were gone. She rubbed her eyes with the heels of her hands. A child again, in the quiet of home. "I'm tired," she said. "I know," Evelyn replied, brushing crumbs into her palm. "You were very brave." Dog. "I wasn't trying to be," Anna murmured. "I was just answering." Evelyn smiled, then stopped smiling. She knew that kind of honesty made people uncomfortable, especially people with power. A knock came at the door. Evelyn froze. Another knock followed, firmer but still polite. "I'll look," Evelyn said. She moved to the door and opened it just enough to see a woman standing in the hallway. Mid-40s, neatly dressed, holding a leather folder against her chest. "Mrs. Moore?" the woman asked. "Yes. My name is Claire Henson. I represent the competition's compliance office." Evelyn did not open the door further. "We've had enough surprises today. I understand," Henson said quickly. "I won't take much time." Evelyn hesitated, then opened the door another inch. "You can speak from there." Henson nodded. "I wanted to personally inform you that the committee has approved Anna's advancement to the next round." Evelyn's chest loosened slightly. "That's good to hear." "There are conditions," Henson added. Of course there were. "What kind of conditions?" Evelyn asked. Henson shifted her weight. "Security protocols, media guidelines. We ask that Anna not speak to press independently." "No," Evelyn said. Henson blinked. "I beg your pardon?" "No," Evelyn repeated. "You don't get to silence her after putting her on a stage." Henson's voice softened. "This is about protecting her. Was my time. Then protect her by keeping your word," Evelyn said. "Not by managing her voice." A pause. Henson nodded slowly. "I'll relay your position." "Good." As Henson turned to leave, she hesitated. "Between us," she said quietly. "Some people didn't expect today to go the way it did." Evelyn met her eyes. "Neither did my granddaughter." The door closed. Anna looked up from the table. "Who was that?" "Someone trying to tidy a mess," Evelyn said. "Did you finish your milk?" Anna nodded. That night, sleep came in pieces. Anna drifted in and out, murmuring in half-remembered phrases, words from different languages tangling gently in her dreams. Evelyn sat beside her, listening, thinking about how easily the world took from children and how hard it was to give back without conditions. At dawn, Evelyn's phone buzzed with a message she didn't recognize. It wasn't from a reporter. It was from Whitman. "I would like to apologize." Evelyn stared at the screen for a long moment, then set the phone face down. Apologies were easy when the damage was public. By mid-morning, the apartment felt smaller. Neighbors stopped by with congratulations that carried curiosity. Someone from the church left a casserole and asked questions that were too eager. A local radio station called and left a voicemail describing Anna as a symbol. Evelyn deleted it. Anna sat on the floor with her books spread out around her, flipping pages, humming softly. She paused and looked up. "Grandma?" "Yes, baby." "Why do they keep saying my name like that?" "Like what?" "Like it's not mine anymore." Evelyn's throat tightened. She crossed the room and sat beside her. "Because they think your story belongs to them." Anna frowned. "It doesn't." "No," Evelyn said. "It belongs to you." There was another knock at the door that afternoon. This time, Evelyn recognized the voice before she opened it. "Mrs. Moore," Whitman said. "Please, I just want to talk." Evelyn opened the door fully this time. Whitman stood there without his usual confidence, jacket draped over one arm, eyes rimmed with something that looked like exhaustion. "You have 2 minutes," Evelyn said. Whitman nodded. I wanted to say that I was wrong. Evelyn waited. I misjudged Anna, he continued. I misjudged you, and I misjudged the moment. Oh man, that's a lot of misjudging, Evelyn said. Whitman swallowed. The board is concerned. I'm sure they are. This has become larger than any of us anticipated, he said. There are expectations now. Evelyn crossed her arms. On who? Whitman hesitated. On her. Anna appeared in the doorway then, quiet as a shadow. Whitman noticed her and straightened. Anna, he said. You were remarkable yesterday. Anna looked at him without smiling. Thank you. Whitman nodded. I hope you understand that what happens next will be intense. Anna considered that. I don't like loud, she said. I like honest. Whitman's mouth tightened. Honesty has consequences. Anna met his gaze. So does lying. The words were simple. The impact was not. Whitman looked away first. I'll be in touch, he said, then turned and left without waiting for a response. The door closed softly behind him. Evelyn let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. She looked down at Anna. You didn't have to say anything, Evelyn said gently. Anna shrugged. He was already talking to me like I wasn't there. Evelyn smiled, pride and worry mixing in equal measure. That evening, a formal envelope slid under the door. Inside was the schedule for the next round. Prime time, live audience, full press access. Evelyn read it once. Then again. This wasn't caution. It was pressure. She looked at Anna, who was tracing letters on a scrap of paper. Absorbed. Calm. Do you want to keep going? Evelyn asked. Anna didn't answer right away. She thought carefully, the way she always did. Yes, she said at last. But not because they're watching. Why then? Anna looked up, eyes steady. Because someone like me should be allowed to finish a sentence. Evelyn pulled her into a hug, holding her close as the city outside hummed with anticipation. Somewhere, decisions were being made by people who believed they still controlled the story. They were wrong. The story was already speaking for itself. The committee's decision came on a Tuesday morning, delivered not by letter or email, but by silence. No updates, no statements, no calls. Evelyn recognized the tactic immediately. Institutions went quiet when they hoped time would do their work for them. When outrage cooled, when attention wandered, when a child's courage became yesterday's news, Anna noticed too. They stopped talking, she said over breakfast, spoon hovering above her cereal. Yes, Evelyn replied. They're waiting. For what? For us to get tired. Anna frowned. I'm tired. Evelyn smiled gently. Not in the way they mean. That afternoon, the retired journalist Margaret Hale came by in person. She was in her late 60s. Hair silver and cropped short, eyes sharp behind thin glasses. She carried a notebook instead of a phone, the way reporters used to before speed replaced memory. I don't like writing about children, Margaret said, as she sat at the kitchen table, but I like writing about truth. And sometimes truth looks like a child standing where she's not expected. Anna looked up from her book. Are you going to write about me again? Margaret smiled at her. Only if you want me to. Anna thought for a moment. You can write about what happened, she said. But not about my bedtime. Margaret laughed softly. Deal. They talked for hours. Evelyn filled in details. Anna didn't know. Phone calls, meetings, words spoken behind closed doors. Margaret asked careful questions. Not fishing for drama, but for clarity. When did the tone change? She asked. When they realized she wouldn't disappear quietly, Evelyn replied. That night, the article went live. It didn't accuse, it didn't shout. It simply laid out facts in order. The way Anna liked stories best. Offer made. Agreement accepted. Performance delivered. Applause followed by discomfort. Silence where accountability should have been. By morning, the story had spread. Not everywhere. Not loudly, but deeply. Teachers shared it. Retired professionals emailed it to former colleagues. Parents forwarded it with notes that said, "This feels wrong. Did you read this?" Whitman woke to a full inbox and a quiet house. He sat at his kitchen table. The paper copy of the article spread before him. Coffee untouched. Margaret Hale's name stared back at him like an old adversary. She had built her career on exposing institutions that mistook procedure for morality. He read the article twice. By the third read, he was no longer angry. He was afraid, not of scandal. He had survived those. He was afraid of precedent. Midday, Evelyn received a call from the competition committee chair. "We need to resolve this," the woman said, her voice tight. "You've had weeks," Evelyn replied. "Yes," the chair said. "And now we have pressure." Evelyn looked at Anna, who was practicing reading aloud in the living room, voice calm and steady. "What does resolving look like to you?" Evelyn asked. "A public reaffirmation," the chair said. "Anna remains in the competition. No separate category. No special track." "And the rules?" Evelyn asked. "The same for everyone," the chair admitted. Evelyn closed her eyes briefly. "Put it in writing." 2 hours later, the statement went out. The committee acknowledged its earlier hesitation, reaffirmed its commitment to fairness, confirmed Anna Moore's place in the competition without exception. Comments poured in beneath the announcement. "About time. She earned it. Children see what adults hide." Anna read none of it. She was too busy doing what she had always done, reading, asking questions, noticing patterns. That evening, Evelyn sat beside her on the couch. "They said yes," Evelyn told her. Anna nodded. "I knew they would." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "How?" Anna shrugged. "Too many people were listening. I was destinated." The next round was scheduled for Saturday. Bigger venue, larger audience, no private evaluations, no glass walls. Whitman arrived early and sat alone. When Anna walked onto the stage later that afternoon, she did not look for him. She looked for her grandmother. Evelyn nodded once. That was enough. The round was rigorous. Longer passages, complex interpretations, ethical questions disguised as language exercises. Anna answered thoughtfully. Sometimes slowly, sometimes with a pause that made the room lean in. When it ended, there was no doubt. The judges exchanged glances that said what they did not need to announce. Anna advanced. The applause was real this time. Not polite, not cautious. Earned. Whitman stood when the crowd did, clapping with measured restraint. But his eyes followed Anna with something close to awe and regret. Afterward, in the corridor, he approached Evelyn. "You were right," he said quietly. "This isn't about control." Evelyn regarded him steadily. "It never was." He hesitated. "I want to make something right." Evelyn shook her head. "Do better next time," she said. "That's how you start." He nodded, accepting the boundary. That night, Anna slept deeply for the first time in weeks. Evelyn watched her, the rise and fall of her chest steady, peaceful. The world had not changed, but something in it had shifted. A door had opened that would not close easily again, and a small voice had proven it could carry farther than anyone expected. The night before the final round, the apartment felt too quiet. Anna sat at the kitchen table with her books stacked neatly to one side, not reading, just touching the covers as if counting familiar friends. Evelyn moved between the sink and the stove, doing things that did not need to be done, wiping an already clean counter, straightening a chair that was already straight. Neither of them mentioned tomorrow. It was Anna who finally broke the silence. "Grandma," she said softly, "what happens if I lose?" Evelyn stopped moving. She turned and leaned against the counter, studying her granddaughter's face. Anna was calm, but there was a seriousness in her eyes that hadn't been there a month ago. Not fear. Awareness. "You won't lose," Evelyn said gently. "That's not what I asked," Anna replied. Evelyn nodded. "If you don't win," she corrected herself. "We wake up the next morning. We eat breakfast. We go to the library. You still read. I still worry. Life keeps going." Anna absorbed that, so nothing bad happens. "Not because of that," Evelyn said. Anna nodded, satisfied. "Then I'm ready." The final round took place in the largest venue yet. A civic hall built to host debates and ceremonies. The kind of place where decisions were announced as if they were truths carved in stone. The stage was wide, the lighting even, the audience packed. Anna stood backstage, holding Evelyn's hand. "You don't have to say anything special," Evelyn whispered. "Just be yourself." Anna looked up at her. "I don't know how to be anyone else." Evelyn smiled, though her eyes stung. When Anna's name was announced, the applause began immediately. Not explosive, but warm. Expectant. The kind that carried recognition instead of surprise. Anna walked onto the stage with measured steps. She did not rush. She did not wave. She stood at the microphone and waited. Across the hall, Whitman sat with the judges, his posture attentive, his expression neutral. He had learned, at last, how to watch without assuming. The final challenge was different. No prepared text, no screen. Instead, the moderator spoke plainly. "Anna," she said, "we'd like you to respond to a question. There is no correct answer, only your understanding." Anna nodded. The moderator continued. "Why do you think people resist voices they didn't expect to hear?" The room fell silent. Anna did not answer right away. She looked out at the audience, not at faces, but at shapes, at the way people leaned forward or sat back, at the subtle language of bodies listening. "Because," Anna said slowly, "unexpected voices remind people of things they didn't choose." The moderator tilted her head. "Such as?" Anna thought again. "Such as responsibility," she said. "And change." A murmur rippled through the hall. "Can you explain that?" the moderator asked. Anna nodded. "If you expect a voice to be quiet, and it isn't, then you have to decide what to do with what it says. That's harder than ignoring it." The moderator smiled softly. "Thank you." She looked to the judges, who nodded in agreement. "That concludes the final round." For a moment, no one reacted. Then the applause rose slow at first, then swelling, filling the hall with something that felt less like noise and more like acknowledgement. Anna stepped back from the microphone and turned toward the wings of the stage. She did not look for the judges' faces. She looked for Evelyn. Evelyn stood, clapping, tears running freely now. She did not wipe them away. The judges conferred briefly. It was not a long discussion. When the chair of the panel stood, the hall quieted instantly. "We have reached our decision," he said. "This year's winner of the National English Excellence Competition is Anna Moore." The sound that followed was not just applause, it was release. Anna stood still for a heartbeat too long, as if the words needed time to reach her. Then she turned, eyes wide, searching. Evelyn nodded, her hand pressed to her mouth. Anna walked forward again, smaller than the stage, smaller than the moment, and yet entirely equal to it. The chair handed her the certificate. Cameras flashed, but not wildly. Respectfully. "Would you like to say a few words?" he asked. Anna looked at the microphone, then at Evelyn, then back again. "Yes," she said. She stepped forward. "I want to thank my grandmother," Anna began. "She taught me that words matter, and that people matter more." She paused, breathing carefully. "I also want to say that winning doesn't mean I was better than everyone else," she continued. "It just means I was allowed to finish speaking." The hall went quiet. "That should be normal," Anna said. "For everyone." She stepped back. The applause that followed was different from before. Slower. Deeper. Whitman did not clap right away. When he did, it was with both hands, openly, without calculation. After the ceremony, the crowd pressed in judges, sponsors, journalists. Evelyn shielded Anna gently, guiding her through the noise. Whitman approached them near the exit. "Congratulations," he said, his voice sincere now. "You earned this." Anna looked at him. "Thank you. We're have to zet it." Whitman hesitated, then added, "You changed more than the outcome." Anna tilted her head. "Change is what happens when people listen," she said. Whitman nodded, accepting the lesson without argument. That night, back in their apartment, the certificate lay on the kitchen table. Anna looked at it once, then pushed it aside and reached for a book. Evelyn watched her, smiling. "You're not even going to look at it?" Evelyn asked. Anna shook her head. "It won't disappear." Evelyn laughed softly. "No," she said. "It won't." Outside, the city moved on, as cities always did. Inside, a 6-year-old girl read quietly, her grandmother close by. The world a little wider than it had been before. The morning after the ceremony felt strangely ordinary. Sunlight crept through the thin curtains, landing on the edge of the kitchen table where Anna's certificate still lay, half covered by a library book she'd abandoned the night before. Evelyn woke early, as she always did. Her body trained by decades of work that didn't wait for celebration. She made coffee, toasted bread, listened to the quiet. Anna slept longer than usual, curled on her side, one hand tucked beneath her cheek. For the first time in weeks, her breathing was deep and even. Evelyn stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching, letting herself believe just a little that the hardest part might be over. It wasn't. The phone rang at 9 sharp. Evelyn answered on the second ring. "Hello, Mrs. Moore," a cheerful voice said. "This is Linda Walsh from Bright Path Talent Management. We represent exceptional young minds." Evelyn closed her eyes briefly. My granddaughter is 6. Yes, and extraordinary, Linda replied. We'd love to discuss opportunities, speaking engagements, educational partnerships. There's a real appetite for Anna's voice right now. Evelyn's jaw tightened. Her voice isn't for sale. There was a pause. Of course not, Linda said quickly. I didn't mean, I know what you meant, Evelyn said calmly. And the answer is no. She hung up before the woman could recover. By noon, 3 more calls followed. Then emails, invitations to panels, interviews framed as conversations, offers wrapped in praise. Anna wandered into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. Why does the phone keep ringing? Evelyn poured her some juice. Because people think winning means you belong to them. Anna frowned. I don't. No, Evelyn said. You don't. After lunch, they walked to the library together. Evelyn insisted on it, as if returning to the familiar place might anchor the week's events. Mrs. Alvarez looked up from the desk and smiled, then paused, unsure. Congratulations, she said softly. Anna nodded. Thank you. Mrs. Alvarez leaned closer. Your grandfather would have been proud. Evelyn swallowed. Anna simply said, I think so too. At the children's table, Anna opened a book and began reading, lips moving silently. Evelyn sat nearby, watching parents glance over, recognizing her granddaughter, whispering. She felt the old instinct rise, the need to shield, to deflect, but Anna looked peaceful, unbothered. On the walk home, Anna spoke suddenly. Grandma? Yes, baby. Do I have to keep proving it? Evelyn stopped walking. Proving what? That I'm allowed to be here, Anna said. That I didn't just get lucky. Evelyn knelt, bringing herself eye to eye. You don't owe anyone proof, she said. But some people will keep asking anyway. That's not about you. That's about them. Anna nodded slowly. Okay, is better. That afternoon, a letter arrived with a return address Evelyn recognized immediately. The Whitman Foundation. She did not open it right away. She made tea first, sat down, called Margaret Hale. Tell me what you think before I read this, Evelyn said. Margaret chuckled softly. If it's from Whitman, it's either an apology or an offer, or both. Read it, Margaret said. Out loud. Evelyn broke the seal. The letter was formal, carefully worded. Whitman congratulated Anna again, praised her composure, her insight, her impact. He spoke of legacy, of responsibility, of wanting to invest in education initiatives that reflected the values Anna represents. At the end, a proposal. A scholarship fund in Anna's name, fully financed, administered by the foundation. Evelyn read it twice. What do you hear? Margaret asked. I hear a man trying to repair an image, Evelyn said, and maybe a conscience. Margaret was quiet for a moment. Those two sometimes arrive together, she said. The question is whether you can accept one without feeding the other. Evelyn looked at Anna, now drawing at the table, humming softly. What would you do? Evelyn asked. Margaret sighed. I'd insist on control, transparency, and I'd make sure Anna never has to stand on a stage again, unless she wants to. Evelyn nodded. That's what I was thinking. That evening, Whitman called. Evelyn answered. Yes, I won't insult you by pretending this is selfless, Whitman said. His voice sounded tired, honest, perhaps. But I do want to do something that lasts. Then listen, Evelyn said. I am, Whitman replied. The fund, Evelyn said, cannot use Anna's image. No press, no branding. A pause. Agreed. It must support children quietly. Evelyn continued. Libraries, tutors, meals, transportation. Yes, Whitman said. And Anna will not be expected to speak, appear, or perform. Oh, another pause, longer this time. Agreed, he said finally. Evelyn exhaled. Then we'll consider it. After the call ended, Anna looked up. Who was that? Someone who wants to help, Evelyn said. But on our terms. Anna nodded. That's important. Later that night, Anna sat on the couch with her book again. Grandma, she said, without looking up. Yes? Winning didn't change me, Anna said. But it changed how people look. Evelyn sat beside her. That's often how it goes. Tension of video. Anna turned a page. I don't want to live for their looking. Evelyn smiled. You won't. Outside, the city hummed. Somewhere, Plans were being made in boardrooms and newsrooms, narratives sketched and revised. Inside, a child read quietly, unhurried, her grandmother close. Both of them aware that the story was not ending. It was simply choosing a new pace. The foundation was announced quietly. No press conference, no cameras, no photographs of Anna holding oversized checks or smiling on a stage. Just a single page on a modest website and a short notice sent to public libraries, school districts, and community centers that rarely received such emails. The Anna Moore Literacy Fund. Evelyn insisted on the name, not because she wanted it remembered, but because she wanted it protected. Names carried weight. They could be misused, or they could stand guard. The first grants went to places Evelyn recognized immediately. Libraries with leaking roofs, after-school programs run by retirees, a small community center that doubled as a food pantry on weekends. The applications were simple by design. No glossy proposals, no polished language meant to impress donors. Tell us what you need, the form said. Tell us who it helps. Anna sat beside Evelyn as they read the first responses. This one wants books in 3 languages, Anna said, tracing the words with her finger. They said the kids speak different things at home. Evelyn smiled. That sounds familiar. Anna nodded. They shouldn't have to choose. By spring, the phone rang less often. The story had moved on. As stories always did. A new scandal. A louder voice. Something easier to argue about. Evelyn welcomed the quiet. It gave her room to breathe again, to return to the rhythms that had carried her through most of her life. Anna went back to being mostly invisible, at least in the ways that mattered. She still went to school, still sat cross-legged on the floor with her books spread out like a small city around her, still asked questions that startled adults when they weren't prepared. But now, there were changes. A new teacher asked Anna for help pronouncing a student's name and did not make a joke about it. The librarian set aside books without being asked. A classmate, emboldened, brought a bilingual poem for show and tell. Small shifts, the kind that didn't make headlines. One afternoon, Anna came home with a note from school. Evelyn read it slowly, her eyebrows lifting. They want you to join a special program, Evelyn said. Advanced reading. Anna made a face. Do I have to leave my class? Evelyn shook her head. No. Just one afternoon a week. Anna considered this. Okay, she said. As long as I can stop if I don't like it. That's fair, Evelyn replied. The first session was held in a quiet room with soft chairs and windows that looked out onto the playground. There were 5 other children there, all older, all nervous in different ways. Anna listened more than she spoke. At the end, a boy asked her, "How do you know so much?" Anna thought about it. "I listen," she said. Summer arrived gently. Evelyn planted tomatoes on the windowsill. Anna learned to ride a bike without training wheels, wobbling, then laughing when she didn't fall. The certificate from the competition was framed and hung in the hallway not as a trophy, but as a marker, a reminder that something had happened there. Whitman kept his distance. True to his word, he stayed out of the spotlight. The foundation ran quietly, overseen by people who did not crave recognition. Occasionally, Evelyn received a brief email from him, updates, confirmations, nothing more. One message stood out. "Thank you for insisting on limits. They've changed more than you know." Evelyn did not reply. Some things didn't need answers. One evening, as the lights softened and cicadas hummed outside, Anna sat at the table writing carefully on lined paper. "What are you doing?" Evelyn asked. "A letter," Anna said. "To who?" "To myself," Anna replied. "For later." Evelyn paused. "What does it say?" Anna read aloud, quietly. "Remember that being heard feels good, but being kind lasts longer. Remember that words are doors, not weapons. And remember that you don't have to stay in rooms that laugh at you." Evelyn blinked back tears. "That's very wise." Anna shrugged. "I forget things sometimes. I can't." That fall, the first report from the foundation arrived. Numbers. Stories. Photos taken without faces. A library in a rural town had doubled its hours. A bus route was funded so children could reach tutoring sessions. A community center started a language exchange night, parents and children learning together. Evelyn read every line. Anna traced the map that showed where the help had gone, her finger moving slowly from place to place. "They're far away," she said. "Yes," Evelyn replied. "But connected." Anna nodded. "Like languages." One Saturday, they attended a small gathering at the community center down the street. No speeches, just folding chairs, coffee and paper cups, children running in and out of the room. An older man approached Anna, careful, respectful. "My granddaughter got books from the fund," he said. "She reads to me now." Anna smiled. "What does she read?" "Stories about places I've never been," he said. "But I feel like I know them." Anna thought about that all the way home. That night, as Evelyn tucked her in, Anna asked, "Do you think people will forget me?" Evelyn smiled softly. "Some will." Anna nodded. "That's okay." "Why?" "Because the right people won't," Anna said. "And because forgetting isn't the same as undoing." Evelyn kissed her forehead. "You're right." As the year turned, the story of a 6-year-old girl who spoke 7 languages faded into the background of a world that rarely paused for long. But in quiet rooms, in small libraries, in kitchens where parents and children read together, something endured. A shift, not loud enough to frighten those who feared change, but steady enough to matter. Autumn arrived with a different kind of weight, not the sharp urgency of last year, not the brittle tension of cameras and committees, but something quieter, expectation without noise. Leaves gathered along the sidewalks like forgotten letters, and the mornings carried a chill that reminded Evelyn of how quickly time moved when you weren't watching it closely. Anna had started 2nd grade. She walked to school now with a backpack that was slightly too big for her narrow shoulders, humming to herself as if the world were a place that could still surprise her in good ways. Evelyn watched from the window until Anna turned the corner, then sat down at the kitchen table, folding the quiet around herself. The foundation continued its work without fanfare. Quarterly reports arrived in plain envelopes. Numbers, yes, but also notes written in careful handwriting. Thank yous that did not know Anna's face, only the difference her name had made. Evelyn read them slowly, often more than once, as if repetition might deepen their meaning. One letter stayed with her. "Because of the books, my son talks to his grandmother now. They share a language again." Evelyn folded the letter and placed it in the drawer with the others. She did not tell Anna about it yet. Some things were better saved for evenings when the light softened and the world felt less demanding. At school, Anna's teacher called Evelyn in for a meeting. "It's nothing bad," the woman said quickly, smiling. "It's just unusual." Evelyn had heard that word before. "Anna has a way of shifting the room," the teacher continued. "When she speaks, other children listen. Even the ones who don't usually listen to anyone." Evelyn nodded. "She asks questions." "Yes," the teacher said. "And she waits for answers." They agreed on a plan. Encourage, but don't elevate. Let Anna lead when she wanted. Retreat when she needed to. No special titles. No spotlight. Anna, for her part, seemed unconcerned. "They talk a lot," she said one afternoon, describing her classmates. "Sometimes they talk instead of thinking." "And what do you do?" Evelyn asked. Anna shrugged. "I think first." One evening in November, Whitman called again. This time, he did not speak of the foundation or logistics. "I wanted to tell you something," he said. I stepped down. Evelyn said nothing. "I realized," he continued, "that I was better at building structures than inhabiting them. The work will continue, just without my name attached." "That's not my decision," Evelyn replied. "No," Whitman agreed. "But it is mine." When the call ended, Evelyn sat for a long time, phone still in her hand. She thought of the man she had first seen, confident, dismissive, insulated by his own success, and the one she had heard just now. Change did not always look like redemption. Sometimes it looked like retreat. In December, Anna brought home an assignment. "Write about someone who taught you something important," the prompt read. Anna stared at the page for a long time. That night, she asked Evelyn to sit with her. "I don't know who to choose," Anna said. "There are too many." Evelyn smiled. "That's a good problem." Anna thought some more. Then she began to write, her letters careful but sure. When she finished, she read it aloud. She wrote about her grandmother, yes, but also about a librarian, a bus driver who waited when children ran late, a teacher who learned names correctly, a woman at the community center who listened without interrupting. "They taught me that being patient is also a kind of intelligence," Anna said when she finished. Evelyn felt her chest tighten. "That's beautiful." Anna looked up. "Do you think they'll understand?" "They will," Evelyn said, "even if they don't know why yet." Winter came softly. Snow fell twice, never enough to shut down the city, just enough to slow it. Anna pressed her nose to the window and counted flakes, translating their patterns into numbers, into rhythms only she could see. One afternoon, Evelyn found her sitting on the floor with a book she hadn't seen before. "Where did that come from?" Evelyn asked. Anna looked up. "A girl at school lent it to me. Her grandmother speaks another language, and she wanted help reading it." "And did you help?" Evelyn asked. Anna nodded. "But mostly I listened." Evelyn smiled. She had learned by now that listening was never mostly for Anna. It was always everything. As the year closed, the foundation released its annual summary. No press, no announcements, just a quiet record of work done, of spaces widened. Evelyn placed the report on the shelf beside Anna's growing collection of notebooks. Not trophies, tools. On New Year's Eve, they stayed in. They made soup. Watched the clock tick toward midnight without ceremony. Anna curled beside Evelyn on the couch, head resting against her arm. "Grandma?" she asked. "Yes. Do you think people will keep arguing about fairness forever?" Evelyn considered. "Yes," she said. "But not always in the same way." Anna nodded. "I think that's okay." "Why?" "Because arguing means they haven't given up," Anna said. "Silence is worse." Even Sil 5, Evelyn kissed the top of her head. "You're right." Outside, fireworks cracked the sky, loud and brief. Inside, the year turned quietly, without spectacle. Anna slept soon after, her breathing steady, her dreams unknown. Evelyn sat awake a little longer, thinking about how much had changed without changing Anna at all. How strength, when rooted in kindness, did not demand attention. It simply endured. Winter loosened its grip slowly, reluctantly. By February, the mornings were brighter, though the air still carried a bite that reminded Evelyn not to trust appearances. Anna walked to school with her scarf half undone, insisting she didn't need it anymore. Evelyn let her win that argument, knowing some lessons had to be learned on the skin. The foundation entered its second year with little ceremony. Applications continued to arrive. Handwritten letters mixed with typed forms, all of them carrying the same quiet urgency. Evelyn reviewed them in the evenings, while Anna did her homework nearby, the two of them sharing the table without speaking much. It was a comfortable silence, the kind earned through years of living closely. Anna began asking new questions, not about words this time, but about people. "Why do grown-ups say they care, but then don't show up?" she asked one night. Pencil paused above her math worksheet. Evelyn thought carefully. "Sometimes caring feels easier than acting," she said. "And sometimes people don't know how to act without losing something." Anna frowned. "What do they lose?" "Control," Evelyn replied. Anna nodded as if that made perfect sense. At school, a subtle shift had taken place. Teachers no longer spoke around Anna. They spoke to her. Classmates who once watched her cautiously now sought her out not for answers, but for reassurance. When arguments broke out, someone inevitably said, "Ask Anna," as if fairness were a language she spoke fluently. It made Evelyn uneasy. One afternoon, she raised it with the teacher. "We don't want her carrying responsibility she didn't choose," Evelyn said. The teacher agreed immediately. "We're watching that closely," she said. "Anna has influence, but we're teaching her she's allowed to step back." That evening, Evelyn talked to Anna about it directly. "You don't have to fix everything," she said gently. Anna listened. "I know," she replied. "Sometimes I just help people hear each other." "That's still work," Evelyn said. Anna smiled faintly. "I don't mind that kind." In March, a letter arrived from a town Evelyn had never visited. The community center there had used a grant to start evening language circles, parents and children reading together, teaching each other words they thought didn't belong in school. The letter included a photo, slightly blurred, of a long table crowded with mismatched chairs and open books. On the back, someone had written, "We didn't know we were allowed to do this." Evelyn showed it to Anna. Anna studied the photo carefully. "They look happy," she said. "They do," Evelyn agreed. "Because no one told them they were wrong," Anna added. Spring came early that year. Trees bloomed suddenly, without asking permission. Anna tracked the changes with quiet fascination, noting patterns in petals, in bird calls, in the way people seemed lighter when the air warmed. One Saturday, Evelyn took Anna to visit Margaret Hale. Margaret lived in a narrow house filled with books and sunlight. She greeted Anna warmly, then stepped back, letting her wander. Anna gravitated immediately to the shelves, fingers trailing along spines. "She's growing," Margaret said to Evelyn over tea. "Yes," Evelyn replied. "In ways I can't slow down." Margaret smiled. "You're not supposed to." They talked about the foundation, about Whitman's absence, about the way public interest had shifted elsewhere. "People think the story ended," Margaret said. Evelyn shook her head. "Stories like this don't end. They just stop being visible." IT9. Anna returned with a book in her hands. "Can I borrow this?" she asked Margaret. "Of course," Margaret said. "What drew you to it?" Anna shrugged. The title asked a question. Margaret laughed softly. "That's usually a good sign." On the walk home, Anna was quiet. "Are you tired?" Evelyn asked. "No," Anna said. "I was thinking." "About what?" "About when people stop watching," Anna replied. "Do things still matter then?" Evelyn stopped walking and turned to her. "They matter more," she said. "That's when you find out what they're really made of." Anna considered this. "Okay," she said. "Then I'm glad they stopped watching." In April, the foundation funded its first mobile library, a refurbished bus painted in soft colors, stocked with books in multiple languages, driven by a retired teacher who had missed the sound of children reading aloud. It traveled between neighborhoods that shared very little except need. Anna saw a photo of it and smiled. "It moves," she said. "That's good." "Yes," Evelyn agreed. "It goes where it's needed." Anna tapped the picture thoughtfully. "Words should travel," she said. "People already do." As the school year drew to a close, Anna brought home another assignment. This one asked students to write about what they wanted to be when they grew up. Anna stared at the page for a long time. That night, she asked Evelyn for help. "I don't know how to answer it," she said. Evelyn smiled. "You don't have to decide now." "But they want a job," Anna said. "A name." Evelyn thought for a moment. "Then write what you want to do, not what you want to be." Anna brightened. She wrote slowly, carefully. When she finished, she read it aloud. "I want to help people understand each other before they decide not to." Evelyn felt something settle in her chest. "That's more than enough," she said. Summer approached again, bringing with it longer days and the sense of a year folding in on itself. Anna rode her bike farther now, confident, her laughter echoing down the block. One evening, as they sat on the steps watching the light fade, Anna leaned against Evelyn. "Grandma?" "Yes?" "Do you think I'll ever want to be loud again?" Anna asked. Evelyn smiled gently. "If you do, it will be because you choose to be, not because someone dared you." Anna nodded, satisfied. Inside, the house was quiet, filled with books and letters and the steady hum of a life lived on purpose. Outside, the world moved forward, imperfect and unfinished. And somewhere in between, a child grew not into a symbol, not into a story, but into herself. By late summer, Anna had learned the shape of time, not the way clocks taught it, chopped into hours and dates, but the way it lived in people, in pauses, in returns, in the slow unfolding of trust. She noticed how some things rushed toward you and others waited patiently until you were ready. The neighborhood had changed, though no one could quite say how. The corner store stocked a few children's books now, tucked beside the newspapers. The bus stop down the street had a small painted sign reminding riders to line up, written in 3 languages. On warm evenings, people sat longer on their steps, talking instead of retreating indoors. Anna moved through it all quietly, riding her bike, carrying books back and forth from the library, leaving small ripples without knowing she was doing it. One afternoon, she found Evelyn in the living room with papers spread across the coffee table. "What's that?" Anna asked. Evelyn smiled. "The Foundation's advisory notes, people arguing about how to help." Anna peered at the pages. "Why do they argue?" "Because they care," Evelyn said. "And because they're afraid of getting it wrong." Anna nodded. "Both can be true." Evelyn laughed softly. "You're learning too fast." That same week, a teacher from another district called. She wanted to start a reading exchange between schools, children pairing up to read stories to one another across neighborhoods that rarely met. She mentioned Anna, carefully, as inspiration, not as a figurehead. Evelyn listened, asked questions, and agreed to pass along information. When she told Anna about it later, Anna's eyes lit up. "They read together?" she asked. "Yes," Evelyn said. "Different ages, different places." "That's good," Anna said. "Then no one feels like the only one." In September, school began again. 3rd grade this time, a new classroom, new faces. A teacher who pronounced every name carefully on the first day. asking students to correct her if she missed anything. Anna noticed. During the first week, a boy named Marcus sat alone at lunch. He spoke softly and stumbled over words when he was nervous. One day, Anna sat across from him without asking. "What are you reading?" she asked. Marcus held up his book. "It's hard." Anna smiled. Hard doesn't mean bad. They ate in silence after that. Comfortable. By October, Marcus was reading aloud in class. Anna did not take credit. She rarely did. Evelyn watched these moments from a distance, proud and cautious at once. She knew how easily the world could decide to pull Anna forward again, to make her stand where others could point. But Anna seemed to understand something Evelyn hadn't learned until much later. Visibility was a tool, not a destination. One evening, as they folded laundry together, Anna asked, "Grandma, do you miss being loud?" Evelyn paused. "Sometimes," she admitted. "I miss thinking noise meant strength." Anna folded a shirt carefully. "I think strength is when you don't have to raise your voice to be heard." Evelyn smiled. "That's very wise. I learned it from you," Anna said simply. In November, a small event took place at the community center. No speeches, no banners, just a reading night. Families gathered with food they'd brought from home. Children read stories aloud, some haltingly, some with confidence, some switching languages mid-sentence without apology. Anna sat on the floor near the back, listening. An older woman read a poem in a language Anna didn't know. Anna didn't try to translate it. She watched the woman's face instead, the way her hands moved when the words grew heavy. Afterward, Anna turned to Evelyn. "I didn't understand all of it," she said. Evelyn nodded. "Did you understand enough?" Anna smiled. "Yes." Winter returned quietly. This time, it felt different. Not heavy, not threatening. Just a season doing what seasons did. One night, snow fell thick and sudden, muffling the city. Anna pressed her forehead to the window, watching the streetlights glow through white air. "It makes everything look the same," she said. Evelyn joined her. "Only on the surface." Anna nodded. "Underneath, things are still where they were." 10 of coursened. "Yes," Evelyn said. "And sometimes that's comforting." In January, Margaret Hale sent a letter. Not an article, not a request, just a note. "I wanted you to know journalism schools are using Anna's story now. Not as inspiration, as a case study in listening." Evelyn smiled and placed the letter with the others. Anna read it later and shrugged. "I hope they learn," she said. "I think they will," Evelyn replied. Eventually, that spring, Anna turned 8. They celebrated quietly, cake, candles, a few friends from school. No speeches, no cameras. Anna made a wish before blowing out the candles. "What did you wish for?" Evelyn asked afterward. Anna thought. "That people keep asking better questions." Evelyn laughed. "That's a big wish." Anna grinned. "Big wishes don't need noise." As the day ended and the house settled into evening, Anna curled up with a book, her head resting against Evelyn's side. "Grandma?" she asked sleepily. "Yes, sweetheart. Do you think the world is kinder now?" Evelyn considered the question, feeling its weight. "I think," she said slowly, "that it's learning. And learning is the first step." Anna yawned. "That's enough for me." She drifted to sleep soon after, her breathing steady, her hand still clutching the page she hadn't finished. Evelyn sat awake a while longer, listening to the quiet, thinking about how far they had come without ever leaving home. Change hadn't arrived with thunder. It had arrived with patience, and it was still arriving. The last morning came without ceremony. No announcements, no sense of ending, just light slipping through the curtains and the familiar sounds of the apartment waking up the kettle, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant city beginning another ordinary day. Anna sat at the table, older now in ways that had nothing to do with years. She traced the grain of the wood with her fingertip, while Evelyn poured tea, both of them comfortable in the quiet they had learned to trust. "Grandma," Anna said, not looking up. "Do stories ever really finish?" Evelyn smiled and set the cup down. "They pause," she said, "so people can live inside them." Anna nodded. "I like that." They walked to the library later that morning, the same one Anna had known since she was small enough to be carried. The doors opened with the same soft resistance. The air smelled of paper and dust and something patient. Mrs. Alvarez waved from behind the desk. She had more gray in her hair now, more lines around her eyes. "You're early," she said. Anna smiled. We like early. Mrs. Alvarez leaned closer. There's something I wanted to show you. She led them to a small corner near the children's section. A new shelf stood there, simple and unmarked except for a handwritten sign, Community Voices. Books in different languages, stories written by parents, grandparents, neighbors, hand-bound collections of memories that had once lived only in kitchens and backyards. Anna's eyes widened. Did you do this? Mrs. Alvarez shook her head. You did, she said gently. You just didn't know it yet. Anna ran her fingers along the spines, reverent. They're all here, she whispered. Yes, Mrs. Alvarez said, because someone reminded us they mattered. On the walk home, Anna was quiet. What are you thinking about? Evelyn asked. I think, Anna said slowly, that people don't always need permission. They just need proof they won't be alone. Evelyn nodded. That's often enough. That afternoon, Evelyn opened the old drawer where she kept letters. She had been saving something without quite meaning to. Notes from parents, librarians, teachers, children's drawings folded carefully so the crayon wouldn't smear. She laid them out on the table. Anna joined her, sitting cross-legged, reading some aloud, laughing softly at others. This one says thank you for listening, Anna said. Evelyn smiled. That might be my favorite kind. As the sun dipped lower, painting the room in amber, Anna found her own notebook. The first page was worn now, the corners soft from use. She turned to a blank page. What are you writing? Evelyn asked. Anna thought. A reminder. She wrote slowly, carefully, choosing each word as if it had weight. When she finished, she read it aloud. When people doubt you, check if they're listening. If they're not, you don't owe them more words. Save your voice for places that open. Evelyn felt tears gather, not sharp this time, but warm. That's a good reminder, she said. Anna closed the notebook. I want to remember who I was before everyone watched, she said. And after, Evelyn reached for her hand. You're still her. That evening, the phone rang. Evelyn considered letting it go to voicemail, but something told her to answer. It was Whitman. I won't keep you long, he said. His voice sounded different now, less polished, more grounded. I just wanted you to know. The foundation approved the last round of grants. No objections. No debates. Evelyn nodded, though he couldn't see it. Good. There was something else, he added. A board member asked why Anna doesn't speak publicly anymore. I told them it was because she didn't need to. There was a pause. Thank you, Evelyn said. Yes, Whitman replied quietly. Thank you. After the call ended, Anna looked up from her book. That was him, she said. Yes. Is he okay? Evelyn considered the question. I think he's learning how to be. Anna smiled faintly. That takes time. Yes, Evelyn agreed. It does. Night came gently. The city lights flickered on, one by one, like thoughts settling into place. Anna lay on the couch, her head resting on Evelyn's lap, the book forgotten for once. Grandma, she said sleepily, if I ever have to speak again. Loudly. Will you be there? Evelyn stroked her hair. Always. Anna yawned. Then I'm not scared. She fell asleep moments later, her breathing steady, her face peaceful. Evelyn sat with her, listening to the quiet, thinking of all the moments that had brought them here, not the headlines or the applause, but the pauses, the choosing, the restraint. Outside, the world continued as it always had, uneven, unfinished, capable of harm and grace in equal measure. Inside, something had taken root, not fame, not victory, understanding, and it would last longer than any story told too loudly. Evelyn kissed Anna's forehead and whispered the words she had learned to live by. You were never invisible. You were just ahead of your time. The light dimmed. The city breathed, and the story, complete without closing, rested ready to be lived again in quieter ways. The story teaches us that true justice is often quiet, and real strength does not need permission to exist. It reminds us that dignity is not granted by power, age, or status, but revealed through integrity, patience, and the courage to speak only when it matters. Through Anna, we learn that being heard is not about being loud, and that lasting change comes not from winning arguments, but from helping others listen, see, and remember their humanity.